So have I learned anything from answering over 4,000 questions in the last year? Probably more than you could imagine. Now, today, enjoying the RV life, we're going to be talking about the 9 tips for conserving water while dry camping or staying off the grid. And then the next stop, we're going to hit Boston, Massachusetts. And then in the RV Envy portion of the show, we're going to talk about wire connectors, and specifically the lever nut type. These things are so cool. This is Eric Stark with the Smart RVer Podcast, delivering the smarts you need to enjoy the freedom of the RV lifestyle without the fear of breaking down. Now let's talk everything RV. Today we're doing episode 157, so let's just dig into this. Welcome to the show, Alexis.
Thanks, Eric. I'm happy to be here.
You've come back one more time.
I have. Maybe my last. Woo!
Wow, something going on I need to know about?
No, I'm just joking.
Wow, check this out. Alexis is turning her resignation right here on the podcast. Live for everybody in America to hear.
We like the drama.
And hopefully just kidding, right, folks?
Yeah, I'm just kidding.
All right, Alexis isn't going anywhere. We got a ball and chain on her. She's shackled to the business.
Help me.
Yeah. Blink.
Yeah, exactly. Y'all can't see me.
All right, so here we are. So we're going to be talking all RV stuff today. And, you know, there's so much stuff going on out there in the RV world, good, bad, and otherwise. So we're going to try to focus on the good today.
Yep.
So none of my rants about dealerships and how bad they are. We're just going to focus on the good.
Sounds good.
So let's start with conserving water while dry camping and enjoying the RV life. You know, a lot of RVers are very familiar with how to conserve, but sometimes there's something maybe they're not thinking about, or someone new to the RVing. Like, you know, we have, 10,000 people listening to this episode. Someone's got to be new out there.
Right.
Can't be all seasoned experts.
Exactly.
So, Alexis, we got 9 tips here. You want to run through these?
Sure. So conserving water, that's kind of a huge deal especially when you're dry camping. One is understanding your water usage. 2 is checking for leaks. That's a huge one. We had water saving fixtures on here, but most RVs come with that anyway. Taking Navy showers is one I thought was good because I've done this. I just didn't know it was coined as called this. But you wet yourself, you turn off the water, and then you soap up, and then you rinse off. So it's just a way to really save, but still be clean, which is nice. Mm-hmm. You can use disposable wipes, but please, folks, do not flush them down your toilet. Your RV toilet cannot take that. The tank cannot handle that. So don't do that. If you're going to use them, throw them in a garbage. Optimize dishwashing. One thing we were talking about was using soap that's safe with a bacterial enzyme that's probably in your holding tank. So using certain soaps can kill that, which you don't want to do because then, it won't work right. It'll stink. You can cook efficiently, kind of prepping for meal and cleanup, knowing what you're going to use and kind of planning for that. You can monitor usage. We've talked about making a hand washing station outside of your RV. So that means if you have kids or just, yourself, you can wash your hands outside, conserve more water that way. And then the last one is carry extra water. That's just a smart tip, no matter what. Just have extra water on hand. You can use it instead of using the sink or the shower all the time. Emergencies come up, so just having additional water with you is smart.
Went through that efficiently. So that's 9 points. So this is available on the smartrver.com under Enjoying the RV Life. So these points are very important. And like I said, some people are used to it. They already do this. Others are new to it. So these might be some new things, or maybe there's something in here that you haven't been doing, that like the disposable wipes. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Cleaning things up, wiping down the kitchen table, doing whatever.
Yep.
Yeah, when you're out dry camping, you don't want to run out. Even if you're being conservative and you think you have a lot more water than really what you will use in that, let's say, weekend, to go home with extra water is a good thing because emergencies come up.
Exactly.
If you're down to the last gallon when you pack up your RV and you're going home, you need water for an emergency of some kind, car's overheating or whatever. Now you don't have it. So it's always better to have extra. So conserving helps.
Mm-hmm.
Then, you can take that longer shower if you want to on the last night or whatever. But also the water that goes from your freshwater tank, if you're using it, it also goes into your gray water tank.
Right.
So that'll fill up too.
Mm-hmm.
So all these things have a purpose, and it's good to think about that when you're out dry camping, especially when you have family with kids. Kids have a tendency of wasting water.
They do.
And then you run out sooner, and then everybody's yelling at each other. Mm-hmm. Everybody's mad they got to go home or there's no more water.
Yep.
Hopefully they're mad because there's no more water. Mm-hmm. Some people might not care.
Yeah, exactly.
Water, schmatter. Who needs that?
Oh, man.
Here we go.
Yep.
Alexis is running for the door. All right. So, okay, now, I said go to our website, so that's just a nice reminder. I want to throw this one plug in for us out here today, and this is it. This is all I'm going to say for us today. We have over 10,000 people listening to this podcast. So what I'd really love to see is 10,000 new views on our YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Go to our YouTube channel and watch at least one video.
Do it.
Like it, subscribe. Let's make this happen. Mm-hmm. Let's turn this channel into something that's on fire. We're getting some traction, but we got great videos there, you know. We really want everybody to look at them, watch them. And sometimes we do parts of this show. The Staying on the Road becomes videos. Mm-hmm. We got a new video that's going to be coming out. We're going to talk about it in the next episode, which you guys are going to love this one. It's going to save you tons of money if you have a Dometic toilet. But go to our YouTube channel, all 10,000 of you. Don't do it all today.
Or
spread it out over a few days. Mm-hmm. But let's show YouTube what we got, okay? What we're made of, how we stick together.
That's right.
Next episode, we're going to talk about community. So let's show it. We'll display that before you get into that next episode.
There we go. All
right, so that's my one plug for the entire Highway 93 Smart RV Sunpro Manufacturing and Hot Boats family.
Impressive.
Ooh. All right. Now, that brings us to staying on the road. So that question, what was the question? I have something written different than what I said.
Yeah.
About 4,000 4,000 questions, whether it's on the phone or in the store. That's what I estimate, a conservative estimate that I was asked in the last 12 months. Mm-hmm. So over 4,000 questions. It's probably closer to 6,000 or 7,000 realistically.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And so there's a lot. So what have I learned? What have I walked away with? You know, I know that everybody else has walked with gold mines.
Oh, yes.
Gold nuggets, all sorts of stuff. But what have I walked away with? You know, one thing that Alexis and I were talking about yesterday was VIN numbers versus model numbers.
Yep.
And what I mean by that is it starts off as sometimes a question or it's a statement, but it's leading into a question. I have the VIN number of my RV. Can you tell me what awning's on it or what furnace is in it or whatever's on it, right? Well, we're not a dealership, so we don't sell different RVs. So VIN numbers are meaningless to us. They don't help us.
Nope.
Unless there's some app out there I don't know about, but at this point, they're meaningless. Now, to a dealer who sells your brand of RV, that VIN number could have some value. But there's one thing to keep in mind. If you have we're getting a little off track here, but if you have let's say a 2000 Fleetwood Bounder, and you have the VIN number for it, and someone does look it up and says, oh, that RV came with this awning on it, with this air conditioner on it, with this furnace in it, with this water pump. Okay, maybe that's what it came with. But in the year 2024, it might be a different air conditioner, different awning, different furnace, different water pump.
Absolutely.
So it might be worthless.
Yeah.
You know? So that's one other thing about VIN numbers. It's not like cars, and cars are year, make, and model anyways. You know, dealership might go for the VIN, and cars more. Today, you have to use VIN numbers more than you ever have.
You do. Yeah, but not with RVs.
But RVs, it's the model number of the appliance or the part you're looking at. And so, you know, we get asked the question trying to find out what furnace they have. You know, like, hey, can you tell me what my furnace has? Or you know, how come my furnace isn't working? And so we ask, which model furnace is it? Then it goes back, well, I got the VIN number. Okay, we need the model number of the furnace. Then it's, well, I don't have that. I have the VIN number. And then we explain that doesn't help us. And then it's the model number. And this is why I preach about the model numbers, writing them down. You know, if you buy out the time one day, go through your RV and write all your model numbers down in a book and just keep that book handy.
Be smart.
Then if it changes, you put a new water pump in, just write down the new number, new furnace, which that doesn't happen often, but air conditioner, refrigerator. It makes life so much easier. You know, I was talking to a guy about his refrigerator. There's 1,000 questions right there, this refrigerator thing.
Mm-hmm.
And the model number of the refrigerator is on the back side of it. So he literally has to take the refrigerator out to get the model. And he says, well, I've already done this a couple times. And I suggested writing it down. He thought that was a novel approach, So,
wow.
Yeah, let's not do this. How many times have you looked at a model number? Just write it down, you know?
Exactly.
But you keep it online or, on your phone or a book, a physical book, just keep it someplace. All right. So that got a little sidetracked there, but that's part of the learning thing. What we learn is, that our customers don't realize VIN numbers don't work in most applications. And now another thing too that's pretty interesting is that our customer base, our fan base, our audience, it ranges from persons with almost no skills to the do-it-yourselfer who's on steroids.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a big difference there between those two groups of people. Then you have all sorts of varying skill sets in between there. But what we find is the ones with no skills, sometimes or very little, they don't really want to develop a skill set. They don't want to be able to check that fuse themselves. They want to be able to just take it to a dealership or an RV repair center and have them do it.
Costs so much more, though.
Costs more, the time involved. You got to take the RV, and maybe you're going to have to leave it all day.
Yeah, or all week.
All week anymore. Mm-hmm. Pick it up. Then you find out it's just a fuse.
Yeah.
And it's something you could have done, and maybe you canceled your RV trip.
Yeah.
Because of a fuse.
Exactly.
So if you're in that category, develop some skill sets. It will not kill you, man. I promise. And then by the same token, you have the do-it-yourselfer on steroids who knows his RV inside and out.
Yeah.
And we're all guilty of this. I know I do it. When I'm talking to customers, whether it's in person or on the phone, sometimes I'm already jumping ahead to what I think they're going to say. I'm not listening anymore. Mm-hmm. And so that's bad on my part. But by the same token, it can happen the other way where someone's not listening to me.
Yeah.
And I'm asking questions and I'm trying to get down a path here. And then the questions don't get answered. And sometimes it's okay. All right. Okay. Now let's go back to the question.
Right.
Whatever it is. And we waste a lot of time. And so it's like, I do the same thing. I mean, I'm guilty of it. So I try to correct myself to make sure I'm listening and I'm not jumping ahead to questions. Because sometimes when I really just sit and listen, even though it's taken a long time to get there, finally it gets to the point. It's like, okay, I wasn't expecting that. This is what I was expecting. Now that changes the direction of this, but it makes more sense.
Yeah. Because
the way the conversation started and then where that path took us. So the point is, we need to listen, all of us. And, sometimes the questions, I might ask questions that seem ridiculous. Like, holy smokes, man, what is this guy thinking? But they're all building up to something.
There's a reason. Yeah.
All building up to something. Yesterday I was helping somebody on the phone, and he kept saying there was coax cable running from the circuit breakers to the outlets. Like, are you sure? And I described coax cable. Yep. And by the end of the day, no, that wasn't it. It's just regular old Romex cabling.
Yeah.
And what he was describing made no sense, and it totally sidetracked the entire diagnosing process. It's like, wow, this is just bizarre. Why would they use this? This is weird.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that's every conversation, but things like that. We got to be sure what we're talking about, and with patience. Got to be patient. So I've learned a lot.
Yes.
These phone calls, everybody has to be patient with me, and I got to be patient with you.
Exactly.
That's the way it works.
Yes.
And another thing that is so handy, and I love it when some customers are really on the ball with this, where they not only will text us pictures, but they'll like draw on them and have an arrow pointing to what they're talking about. And that's all nice, and that's great. That's a person that's very capable. They like computers. They like technology. They are very comfortable with their phone. But not everybody's that way.
Yeah.
Like, I can do all that stuff, but I'm not going to do it unless you push me into it. It's like,
Yeah.
So I'll text you a picture, you figure it out. But texting pictures helps out so much because there's so many things that, we think we know exactly what you're talking about. And maybe it's this better example of something in the store. Someone will describe something. Oh, yeah. I need a new cover for my propane tanks. Okay, so you got two 30-pound tanks? Yeah, that's exactly what I have. I need the cover that goes on them. And so if we don't have the cover, let's say we have to order it because we're out of stock, we get him in and call hey, we got your covers in, your cover. And he comes down, he goes, well, I don't need that. I need the little lid that goes on top.
Yeah.
Where you flip it up and you can turn the valves on and off.
Yep. You're like, oh.
So pictures would have helped that, right? Communication, that clear understanding of things. And so it goes back to that listening or explaining right. And I just thinking about, the amount of questions that I get asked. One thing I've learned is sometimes by the end of the day, man, I'm pretty tired of questions.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Ask Alexis and Karen. Eric's pretty grouchy today.
Too many questions.
But, the questions are what everybody has. I go to stores and I ask questions about things. Maybe it's a car or I don't know, whatever. I pretty much know everything, so it doesn't matter now.
Oh, wow.
But, I ask questions and I know sometimes the guy doesn't understand what I'm asking. Maybe his skill set is not as high as I thought it was, so I got to lower the quality of dumb down the question, I guess, and make it easier for the person to understand or draw it, make it a little more clear.
Hand him the dummies guide to figuring out Harper.
Guide to Eric's question.
There we go.
Yeah. And, you can get mad at him, doesn't do any good. You call him stupid, doesn't do any good, It just makes the conversation more intense.
Yeah.
And, listening to people, all the questions are almost all the same. It's always the same things about furnaces, refrigerators, air conditioners. It's why doesn't it work?
Right.
That's why doesn't it work is the biggest question we have, regardless of what it is. And then I'd say second to that would probably be about our SunPro products. Windshield covers, awnings, slide-out fabrics, maybe how do you measure, things like that.
Oh, yes.
So, to say that I've learned so much about these questions, it's just changed my life, I don't think I could say that.
Yeah.
But I've learned that people have a lot of problems with RVs, and they want to fix them, whether it's themselves or having a company do it. But it's that desire to get it fixed and fixed right. So that's important. And that's actually, one of the reasons why we do this podcast is to help people learn how to take care of their RVs or to learn new aspects of taking care of their RVs. Some people are very good at this. They could probably host this podcast. But, that's the goal, is to help people. Our YouTube videos is the same thing, to weed out the garbage that you find on YouTube and the internet, misleading you into buying stuff. We don't do any paid commercials to speak of. We're not doing a YouTube commercial or a YouTube video promoting something that we don't believe in. That will never happen.
Right.
We get emails all the time asking us to do YouTube videos for companies and promote this thing and that thing.
Yes.
Portable air conditioners and this and that. And it's just, all of it's garbage. And we won't do it unless we believe in the product,
Yep.
Currently, there's some sunglass company or eyeglass company. I don't know if we're going to do anything or not. We got to look at it a little bit more, see the quality,
Yep.
Everybody wears sunglasses or eyeglasses, but the point is, it's that quality stuff. And, that's what we're trying to teach everybody. Our YouTube videos, the podcast, and even these places where we suggest to go, we've done research on them. We're not going to send you into an alligator pit.
Exactly.
Yeah, not intentionally, no. But, so the questions are always good. And so there's no negative to all these questions that we get. The questions are what make the wheel go round or this business work. Every question turns into an answer. Every answer for us turns into a customer. And so we like it. So The bottom line is, if you have questions, let's up the number. Let's make it 6,000, 8,000 in the next 12 months.
I'm sure it will be.
Careful what I ask for, right?
Yeah.
And it's funny too, is we get questions from RV repair centers, especially about awning stuff from all over the country. We get people that call us that say, I've called Dometic, I've called Carefree, I've called this person, that person, this person, that person. No one seems to know the answer to this question. Can you help? And we help them, because that's what we do. And we understand it, and sometimes things just can't be done.
Yeah.
Parts just aren't there, or, maybe something has been discontinued and we haven't found a replacement for it, but someone else has, but we don't know about it. But,
right.
We work on that stuff, but by asking the questions, you find out. So it's not a negative thing. Questions are good. So keep the questions coming. The more questions you have actually means the more you're learning.
Yes.
The more you care about your RV, the more you care about your family, because when your RV is running good and everything's working, then you're taking care of your family because they want to go in that RV and use it and go on trips.
Make them happy.
Make them happy. There you go. Just like my RV. Everything in tip-top shape.
Yes. Absolutely.
Alexis, how's your RV?
It's good. It's
good.
It really is.
Tip-top shape.
Almost.
Almost. There's always something, right?
Yes.
And there's always going to be things.
Always.
But that's why we learn.
Exactly.
So we can take care of our RVs.
Mm-hmm.
The questions are great. Keep them coming. And you can contact us by phone. We talk to people that listen to the podcast all the time.
Yes, we do.
Text us, send us emails.
Mm-hmm.
We love it. All right, now that's going to take us to the next stop. And today, we are traveling across the country from Montana to the East Coast. It's all humid and nasty right now.
Yeah.
Let's go back.
Right.
We're going to go to Boston, Massachusetts.
Yes, we are.
So besides old red brick and whatever,
smell.
cobblestone roads.
There we go.
What's in Boston, Massachusetts, Alexis?
Well, it's one of America's oldest city, and that is evident everywhere. So we can stroll along the Freedom Trail, a 2.5-mile path. It winds through historic neighborhoods and iconic landmarks like the Old North Church. That's where Paul Revere's famous ride. He went by that with the gleaming golden dome. So that's kind of cool. And then for a deeper dive, you can go visit the Boston Tea Party ships. They're in the harbor. Or the museum, kind of a neat, walk through history. There's cultural delights, which means they've got an art scene there, a lot of museums, a lot to see in that type of thing. Local flavor, street performers. They really have everything. There are even natural places. You can hop the ferry and go to the Boston Harbor Islands. That's pretty cool. As an RVer, we like to get outdoors, so that might be something that would be really fun. And of course, there's RV parks all around, but you just have to do a little research, and if you want to see Boston, I'd say do it. It's pretty cool, especially in the fall.
I'm on my way.
There we go.
All right, so there you have it. So, speaking of questions, if you have questions about early American history,
there we go. Go there.
You can go there and start asking questions. There's a lot of history there in Boston.
Mm-hmm.
That's where it all began.
Yes, sir.
That's where all the anarchy no.
It kind of.
That's just, that's where the United States got its history from.
That's right. Very neat.
So it was the starting point of that. So there's a lot there. And, it's amazing it's still intact.
It is, yeah.
It hasn't been bulldozed or something new put up or it offends this person or that person. Got to tear it down. These red bricks are offensive,
Right.
So it's pretty cool. So I would say check that out if you haven't been there. If you're in, it's depending on where you live, it might be a long trek, but there's other things to see along the way.
It's worth it. Yeah.
Do a big giant loop. Go ahead, take 6 months off work. I authorize it.
Why not?
What the heck? That way you can check it out. Have a good time. All right. So now we've gone through the next stop and we're coming up to RV Envy. Now, this is going to be the most exciting part of the show that you've ever experienced. We're going to talk about wire connectors. Not just wire connectors, but wire nuts. Actually, we're going to even drill down a little bit more. Lever wire nuts, if that makes sense. So I don't, you obviously, if I had one in my hand, you couldn't see it. But the wire connectors, you have your traditional wire connectors that you use a crimp tool, you crimp them and they work, you splice into the wire. But lever wire connectors, they have a little lever on them that are pretty sweet because you can reuse them. They're easy to use. Sometimes get in a tight spot, you got one arm and there's no way you're going to be able to crimp something, but with these lever nuts, you can actually get one arm in somewhere and get the wires in and flip the little lever. And these little connectors, they're, clear plastic, usually a orange or blue or whatever, lever on it. You can get them just about any hardware store, big box store, online. Be careful online what quality you buy.
Yeah, no kidding. Just shop local, people.
Yeah, there you go. Put them in your hand, touch them, and feel them. At least start off that way. So you push the wire in. You have to strip it first, but you put the wire into the connector and you flip the lever down, and now the wire's in there to stay. And then you put the other wire in right next to it and flip that lever down. That wire's in there to stay. So you can use them as a permanent situation. They work great in RVs. Or if you're just testing and you don't want to waste wire connectors, maybe the wire's getting real short, you don't want to have to keep cutting it and stripping it, then you can use these wire connectors just for testing things. In fact, for testing, they're super easy because you can put it on there. If it works, you can just leave the connector on there. If it doesn't, then you can take it off and go to plan B, whatever that might be.
Right.
So they're pretty handy. And, a lot of you have probably already seen them, know about them, and they're not new by any stretch of the imagination, but they're still relatively new. A lot of people haven't seen them, or you see them and you don't really understand what they are or how handy they can be. So you don't need to run out and buy a kit of 1,000,000 of them. You just probably need a small little starter set, a few of each. See how you like them, try them out. And depending on what you're doing, you might not use them that often, but when you do need one, they are certainly handy to have. And that's why I say you maybe don't need a big old kit filled with them, but just have some on hand. So that's my RV envy for the day. The big thing that's going to make all your neighbors jealous, when you got these really cool wire connectors and you're walking around the park showing them off. Hey man, check out my wire connectors.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Who does that, right?
Weird people.
Exactly. Not the smart RVer. So they follow the guy doing that, and then they take their connectors.
Right, exactly.
All right, so that actually is going to bring us to the end of our show today, and we're actually ahead of time a little bit. Last episode, we were way over. This one, we're a couple minutes early, so that's good. We shoot for 30 minutes, but we haven't made that mark in a lot of episodes, but, we shoot for that. All right, everybody. So next 2 weeks, the next episode is going to be 158. And we're going to talk about the problems that we see and hear most often. So the problems we get asked about on the phone, which I mentioned a little bit today, and then the things that we see that come through our store. We're going to talk about that. You might be surprised what it is. So it's been a great show. It's been great hanging out with everybody today. And if I don't see you on the road, let's connect at the Smart RVer Podcast.